When it comes to the issue of faith, life offers you three different roads. The first road takes a more positive view of faith. This is the road for people who believe in a God, even if that God is of their own making. The people who are traveling on this road are called theists. The second road takes a more negative view of faith. On this track, people believe that there is absolutely no God. These individuals are called atheists. Finally, the third road, this is the road of the not sures. These are those folks who don't believe in God, but don't not believe either. These people are called agnostics. Perhaps you used to drive down the road of theism or atheism, but then you decided to change lanes because you concluded, I don't want religious people to be mad at me, and I also don't want atheists to think I'm foolish. Agnosticism seems like a smart move because it doesn't outright reject faith, but it doesn't embrace it either. In other words, agnosticism is the safe lane that doesn't render a verdict on anything. But not so fast. What if you discovered that agnosticism isn't neutral at all? Do you believe God definitely exists, God might exist, or God definitely doesn't exist?
First option, God definitely exists.
So I think I fall into the category of might exist.
I don't know if you could necessarily call it a God, but I believe that there's like an existential force or something that's bigger than us humans.
Our guide today is Tom Hammond. Tom's kind of a Southern boy. Okay, not kind of. He's really Southern. But don't let the twang in his voice fool you. We caught up with Tom to see if he could help us understand the 5 core beliefs of agnosticism.
In your book, Solving the God Puzzle, you make the case that agnosticism crumbles underneath its own weight.
Agnosticism is built upon several underlying or supporting beliefs. Now that's the way most beliefs work. We don't arrive at a belief without other beliefs preceding it. And all worldviews are that way. We believe certain things first. An example might be we believe it's a good idea to carry an umbrella today because we have first believed it's likely to rain. So beliefs are usually stacked on top of one another. One belief leads to another. And agnosticism is really the end result of a series of beliefs that the agnostic wants to use to support the conclusion of agnosticism.
You lay out 5 underlying beliefs that actually lead to agnosticism, and the first one goes something like this. I have to see scientific evidence before I can confidently believe that God exists.
Would you say, like, for you, you would need scientific proof to know if God exists or not?
Scientific, spiritual, something like that.
How is the idea that science has to prove God's existence in order for us to believe that God exists a self-defeating belief?
It's a self-defeating belief because the statement itself can't be scientifically proven. If you're saying we can't believe anything until science proves it, we can't believe that statement because science can't prove that statement.
Do you think it's possible for us as finite humans to even know anything to be absolutely true?
The truth varies on who you're asking and what they believe in.
Like if someone said like, I don't believe in God, like it's not like I can come up with really strong supportive evidence to be like, you're wrong. It's like the type of thing where we can agree to disagree about what we believe in.
Another foundational agnostic belief that you give in your book goes something like this. Because our ability to know is limited, we can't be certain that God exists. How is that idea a self-defeating belief?
That's really the same thing as saying, I'm certain we can't know anything with certainty. That's a self-defeating statement. If you're certain we can't know anything with certainty, then you can't know with certainty that that statement is true. Science cannot answer metaphysical questions. It cannot scientifically prove metaphysical realities. What's a metaphysical reality? Well, most of us believe there's such a thing as beauty. Most of us believe there's such a thing as love. But you can't take beauty and love and put it into a test tube or put it under a microscope, quantify it, put mathematical formulas to it, and prove that it's there. When you start talking about the question of God, which we believe to be a metaphysical reality if he does exist, science cannot prove or disprove him. So when the agnostic says, well, science has to prove he exists before I'm willing to believe, you're asking science to do something it can't do.
How would you define tolerance?
It has a lot to do with like being able to accept other people, being able to accept like where other people are coming from.
I think that the truth about religion is unknown. But if you believe that to be true, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's false.
A third foundational agnostic principle would go something like this. It's more tolerant not to choose a side. How is that idea a self-defeating belief?
It's self-defeating in the sense that, first of all, it is taking a side. Second of all, it's taking a side that says no one can ever be wrong, which then conversely you have to say is taking a side that no one can ever be right, including the person who says it's more tolerant not to choose a side, the person who claims to be an agnostic.
Do you agree with the statement that your truth is your truth and my truth is my truth?
Yeah, my truth is my truth and your truth could be your truth.
And the way we hear this very often is in the phrase, your truth is your truth. You can say to a person, I believe 2 + 2 = 5. Am I wrong? And very oftentimes people will come back with the answer, well, it's not wrong if that's what's true for you. Now the problem with that belief is this. It means that if you are willing to allow everyone to be right, the agnostic is also allowing the theist and the atheist to be right.
Another agnostic belief is that their own system of thought is more enlightened or more open-minded. How is that belief self-defeating?
It's self-defeating in the sense that we are associating intelligence with uncertainty. Normally we associate intelligence with certainty or with knowledge. So when we start trying to tie intelligence and claiming not to know anything together, we've really got an absurd conclusion. I think agnostics fear dogmatic beliefs, and they perceive theists or maybe atheists as being dogmatic about their beliefs. But what I think the agnostics don't stop and realize, they're just as dogmatic about their belief as anyone else is theirs.
And it seems like agnostics actually claim more than that. Not just that they don't know, but that you can't know either.
Exactly. Yes, that's well put.
The last foundational principle you give for agnosticism in your book is that what a person believes about God doesn't matter. How is that actually self-defeating belief?
Well, it's a belief, and they have accepted as true that it won't matter, there are no consequences regardless of where we end up on the God question. And I would concede to the agnostic, if you can show me that knowledge of God's existence is unknowable, I might agree with him that it doesn't matter. But if we can know he exists or not, and it turns out that he does, and we also find out not only does he exist, but there are eternal consequences for not believing he exists, then I would say to the agnostic, this could matter, and it could matter more than everything else put together.
All of this adds up to one reality. You're not neutral. You're a believer, and maybe those beliefs aren't worthy of your trust. Perhaps you weren't expecting that nail in your agnostic tire. Maybe it's time we consider merging over to smoother territory. So, put on your blinker, because we're changing lanes to theism next.